This is not drawn to scale. Me cannot draw, but this is just a representation. South America, Central America, the United States, and the Caribbean, and this is West Africa. This is Bermuda. Remember Bermuda. This is how storms travel across the ocean. This blue line here represents the equator. Anything that's above the equator, any storm system that's above the equator in the ocean will want to go north because of the rotation of Earth. And the stronger the storm system is, the more it will curve and go north, right? So why doesn't Melissa or any other storm will hit any islands curve? Melissa didn't just pop up in the Caribbean. Melissa was a cluster of storms that came off Africa when nobody didn't notice except the meteorologists. Then come over until them get to the Caribbean. So why did it stall in the Caribbean? Remember when I tell yourself, remember Bermuda? This is called the Bermuda High. It's an area of high pressure that's usually between Florida and the East Coast and Bermuda. And that's an area of high pressure. That prevents any cyclones, hurricanes, or anything from moving the direction they're supposed to move, which is north. Okay, so if the Bermuda High north can prevent this to go that way, why it never just go west? Because at that same time, there was another area of high pressure over the United States. Also, there was an area of high pressure over the East Caribbean and also in the West Caribbean towards Mexico that also helped in sandwiching Melissa in that specific place in the South Caribbean underneath Jamaica. Therefore, this don't have nowhere to go. So that means it a go stall right there. So now, when these start to move away now, that is when Melissa starts to move this direction because this and this is dragging it this way. And that is why Melissa stalled in the Caribbean and moved across Jamaica. There is no cloud seeding. Nobody went to the Caribbean to create the hurricane. On our phone, on the dunce. The reason why it got so strong is because during this time of the year, Atlantic hurricane season is from June to November. When it comes closer to the end of the season, the Atlantic over here becomes a little bit more cooler. But the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean still has warm temperatures. So when Melissa was in here stuck because of this and this, it had time to develop into a category 5. Nobody make it. It's nature. And it's a catastrophe.
On the spot news media, we got the latest news. We don't care about the views, we just representing right. Put local news internationally every night. On the spot, wave that Jamaican flag from left to right. Let's get it right, y'all know the type. We ain't dealing with the hype. We make it take flight.
Yeah, man, my viewers and subscribers, what one. A blessed and wonderful Tuesday morning to each and every person out there tuning into On The Spot News Media. Now, my peeps, I don't know how we do it over on this side each and every morning. We have to give thanks and praise to the Most High Creator for the preservation of life, because life is indeed the greatest. So in the morning, my peeps, I have a few stories to share with you, the regular members of Jan Public and also members of the diaspora. So please like the video, share the video, watch the entire vlog so you can get a full understanding and a better appreciation of everything we're going in Jamaica. So watch this now, my peeps, in the morning, yeah. We're going to kick it off with some stories coming out of the Kingston Eastern Police Division. Then I have one of the most heartfelt set of videos to share with you. And that one is coming out of the St. James Police Division. So for those who are teary-eyed, please have your handkerchief close by so you can wipe as you watch and experience one of the most tragic yet thrilling life-saving experiences that I've ever seen, and the gratefulness of the person whose life was saved. But before we get into that, make we get into this. Now, sleuths, that is police officers assigned to the Kingston Eastern Police Division, have charged 20-year-old Damoie Byfield, said to be of a Alexander Street address in Kingston. He has been charged with the offense of murder, conspiracy to murder, possession of a prohibited weapon, and using a firearm to commit a felony, and also malicious destruction of property. Now, who remember a knockings and clappings incident that took place along McKinley Street, that is in the Kingston Eastern Police Division on Saturday, January 25? A man did end up losing 3 pints in the knockings and clappings there, and the man in question has since been identified as 24-year-old Timoy Malcolm, said to be a taxi operator at the time of a Windward Road address in Kingston 2. Now, reports reaching on the Spot News Media would suggest that sometime around 12:15 a.m., Byfield and his accomplices staged a robbery by using plastic barrels and other debris to block the path of moving vehicles. It is stated that the now deceased Timoy Malcolm was driving along the roadway when he was pounced upon by the criminal element, so he came to a halt. It is stated that the criminal element, that is Damoie Byfield and other men armed with handguns, pounced upon the now deceased Timoy Malcolm. So in a bid to save his life, he attempted to evade his attackers. It is stated that the now deceased reversed his motor vehicle, during which the culprits fired shots, resulting in a collision with a nearby utility pole. It is stated that the collision caused the car to be engulfed in flames. The police were summoned and the relevant authorities were contacted to have the fire extinguished. The scene was processed and the charred remains were removed and taken to the morgue pending post-mortem. An investigation was launched in which the criminal element Damoie Byfield was arrested in relation to the seizure of a prohibited weapon. The weapon was submitted and ballistic comparison was done. The comparison revealed that the weapon found in Byfield's possession was the same weapon used in the fatality of Malcolm. So on Thursday, October 30, the criminal element Damoie Byfield was charged after he gave a caution statement to the police. A court date is presently being finalized for him. And still in the Kingston Eastern Police Division, a fatal chopping going on over there. This one took place on Sunday, November 2nd, sometime around 12 p.m. So the man who was on the receiving end of the fatal chopping has since been identified as Donandrew Campbell, otherwise known as Dan. Now, his life was taken by this criminal element, presently on your screen, identified as Derrick Shaw, but them call him Fighters in our streets. Now, he is said to be from a Kingston 2 address. Now, information received by On The Spot News Media is that Dan and Shaw had a dispute during which Shaw used a machete to inflict several chop wounds to the right side of Dan's neck. He also chopped him to the left hand below his shoulder, to the front of his torso, and both wrists that are down to the finger part there, so chop off his wrist them, both hands, clean, drop both of them a ground. Yeah, man. Now, the criminal element Derrick Shaw made good his escape in the direction of Windward Road in Kingston 2. Now, Dan was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital where he was pronounced you know what upon arrival. Now, On The Spot News Media get to understand that both men had a long-standing dispute spanning several years, while arguing $1,000 fell to the ground and further escalated the conflict that ultimately led to the demise of the now deceased man. Now, the criminal element Derrick Shaw is said to be originally from St. Thomas, and he ran away from St. Thomas because of a similar chopping incident. So he's now presently being hunted by the Kingston Eastern Police. So anyone knowing the whereabouts of Derrick Shaw, please alert any police in the Kingston Eastern Police Division or any police at all we want to feel comfortable with. And as always, if you don't trust the police, link on the Spot News Media or any like-minded vlogger. Give us the information and we will most definitely pass it on to the relevant authorities who can make effective change. Yeah, man. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about, as promised, this heartfelt video of the police in St. James rescuing a male and a female from floodwaters. Now, I'm going to read for you a letter of appreciation. And it reads, "To the officers at Freeport Police Station, I, Anthony Swaby of the Maroon Town Division, would like to extend my highest commendation to you and your team for your bravery and selflessness in rescuing a couple trapped in troubled waters during the passing of Hurricane Melissa. Your actions are a testament to the unwavering dedication and commitment of our frontline workers. Please accept my deepest gratitude for risking your lives to save others. Your heroism and commitment to service will not go unnoticed. Thank you for being beacons of hope in a time of crisis." Now, I want for you to watch the videos so you can see as the rescue efforts by the police unfolds. And you will see the last video, the most touching part of that rescue operation. Boy, may I tell you, my peeps, it's rough, but anyway, watch.
Constable Edwards here. We're still here trying to rescue the police that is over there and the person that was in the car that was rushing away that the police was trying to save. Many other police are out there trying to rescue them. The water is coming over on us. Almost the ground floor is almost covered. We are worried. We're scared. We're trying to get to the fire brigade. We're trying to get some assistance. I'm not sure what's going to happen. As you can see, there are police officers that are using ladders to see if they can roll other things to try to help to save the police officer and also the lady that was in the vehicle. It is very scary, and I just want to tell you guys, we're not safe. Guys, the police are still out there trying to help the rescue the police and also the lady that is in the vehicle. The water is still rising. Things are even getting worse. We're trying to get some help. Still nothing. The water is also coming into the police station and there is not much to do right now. Guys, I think the police actually saved the person that was in the vehicle and also the police officer of Byfield that was out there. I am at a little distance, so I can't really see exactly what is happening. Sorry, excuse. So, I think they have rescued them. Guys, they are safe!
Yeah, alright. They must go down.
water is almost at the ground floor at the Montego Bay police station in Fairport. Guys, the elderly lady is actually safe, guys. Yes! Yes, I elderly lady that. Guys, let's actually save the lady and also the police officer that is out there. They are safe, they are safe. We are worried about the rising of water actually. This is like a tsunami. We don't know where is the river, from where is the sea, from where is actually the road. Everything is all in one. No, the lady is actually safe. It's very dark outside. And I hope you can get a glimpse of what is going on. Guys! The other side! Take the other side!
Yo, take the other side, the other side.
Oh my God! Guys, this is the lady that they say actually. These are all the police officers. Good job, guys! Good job! You are heroes! You are heroes! Yes, guys! We have everything captured! Guys, what is happening? Mash up, oh God. Force forward, guys. Heroes. I'm so glad that you guys are back. Everybody is good. Everybody is accounted for. Thank God. Good job.
Why me I tell my peeps, really heartfelt one to watch in all my years of being in Jamaica, land we love. I have never seen a male hug a police officer with such love, warmth and embrace. Never seen it before. That young man right there is grateful for life. He knows that without the help of the police, he would have been gone. So grateful he is indeed. So I just want to take this time out to say a big thank you to the Freeport Police for rescuing that male and that female from flood waters during the passage of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. And I hope that after everything settles, these brave policemen are actually acknowledged for their bravery. Yeah, man. So we're going to give some updates and play some videos, some informative videos with information that the regular ones and ones them need to know. The first one is that American Airlines now resumes operations in the Ian Fleming International Airport, just in St. Mary Otrius area there, so the airport there, right there. So now it is now stated that you can carry 2 free suitcases and increase weight on the weight limit on American Airlines once you're carrying back stuff to aid in relief efforts in Jamaica. So take note of that. Now also to persons donating. These are a list of fake domains that you should not, I repeat, should not give any form of cash donations to. And on your screen, they are as follows. Now just screenshot that and keep it for yourself. So just in case you don't come across any one of these domains, do not use any one of them to send cash. Now the next two videos that I'm about to play is from the opposition. The leader of the opposition, Mark Golding, and another female said to be an MP in one of the affected areas. Now I want to listen exactly to what they have to say, and then I will say my piece as it relates to those video footages. Now listen.
I have proposed to the Prime Minister from last week, Wednesday, that he should establish a broad-based task force to be given the responsibility of governance oversight over the relief effort, the relief coming in, how it is dealt with, how it is distributed, not to manage that process on a day-to-day basis, but to provide oversight to those who are managing it. So there's some accountability for how it's done, and that accountability is being held by a broad-based group that can enjoy the support and confidence of the whole society, especially those who are suffering terribly now and no doubt fear that they may not be treated fairly or they may be ignored or overlooked in the response of the state to the crisis. I also think there needs to be a clear command structure for the actual day-to-day management of the response to the relief. And that should be led, in my opinion, by professionals in disaster management, not by politicians who do not know the ins and outs of responding to a disaster of this magnitude. And we should not be shy of seeking international support and help from persons who have career expertise and experience in this regard. Thirdly, we're going to need a Marshall Plan, a well-funded, broad-based plan for the rebuilding and reconstruction of large swathes of Jamaica which have been ravaged by this hurricane. That plan cannot be developed today, but it is vital that we prepare such a plan and that it have the inputs of persons who have the necessary skills and experience and knowledge to design a comprehensive, workable plan that can be executed efficiently and that can have the confidence of our international partners we are going to rely on heavily to provide the financial support for this. In terms of more specific recommendations now, I have asked the Prime Minister to make an additional allocation of resources to members of Parliament so that they can mobilize communities and contractors to help with the cleaning up of communities that are currently in a state of devastation, clearing roads where necessary, cutting trees and the like. Until that allocation is made, members of Parliament are unable to respond to the needs of the people unless they happen to have some personal resources or access to dealing with it outside of the public system, and many do not have that. I would also say that the process of engaging contractors to do that kind of work should be simplified and made easy for members of Parliament, especially in those areas where there's very limited connectivity and where following the normal bureaucratic processes that are required would be very challenging or impossible for members of Parliament. If contractors have a TRN, whatever the allocation is, there should be invoices, and those invoices can be submitted but the work should be able to begin. Secondly, we note and agree with the decision to suspend the imposition of import duties and import GCT on disaster relief items coming into Jamaica. However, we believe that the period for which this has been announced is too short, because the time it takes to mobilize funding and make the necessary procurement abroad, the logistics, etc., of getting it shipped to points on land where they can then be shipped or flown to Jamaica takes some time. And to have it cut off by the end of this month is too short. And it's also not clear from the announcement that was made whether goods in transit to Jamaica will get the benefit, even if they haven't landed here at the time of the expiry of the window. I'm suggesting that we recast that window in a way which is more realistic, given the situation that we face. I also think we need an evacuation plan urgently for persons who are without shelter. That needs to be well thought through so that persons can be moved to places of safety where whatever form of accommodation can be erected to support them, whether it be tents or something else that can be put in place, and they can have access to the basic means of survival in an organized way. And that is necessary because right now we have people, many Jamaicans, who are exposed to the elements, including babies, including children, including the elderly, including persons with disabilities, and they need to be moved to accommodation which protects them from the ravages of the elements going forward.
The devastation has been extremely great in northeastern St. Elizabeth. And as a member of parliament, I have reached out to the government for assistance in getting persons who are marooned access so that they can actually leave their communities or enter elsewhere. I have been told by the government that as a member of parliament, I cannot engage with private contractors to have their roads cleared or to have their roads put in a place where they can leave or enter their community. And so I have been faced with a difficult decision where I have to choose whether I obey the rules as they currently stand, in which case it means that residents will be left stranded and trapped and unable to leave, even in cases of emergency. People will not be able to have access to food, water. Or I make the other difficult decision, which is to go against the government's dictates and actually engage contractors to put together the roadway as best as possible so that access can be had. I have chosen the latter. And so I hope and I pray that the government will actually make some allocation available to members of parliament in the affected constituencies. I am calling on the government to include the members of parliament, to engage with us, and very importantly, to empower us to help the people who are depending on us because they don't have the numbers for the government ministers, they have the numbers for their members of parliament, and they're reaching out and begging and crying out for help. I'm asking that the government consider making an allocation, particularly to the members of parliament in the deeply affected communities, constituencies, where it's not just a case of clearing the roadways, it's a case of actually engaging professionals who can fill the gaps and the craters and make a way where there is no way, even if it is just on a temporary basis.
So I've listened to the opposition members pleading their case, and I do agree to a greater extent with most of what they have stated. Now, I'm pretty sure that the government would have started to put things in place to facilitate most, if not everything that you have stated. But what I don't want, and this is for members from both political divides, is that you don't use this catastrophe and politicize it. This is Jamaicans suffering, both in JLP eras and PNP eras. So put aside your political differences and make all efforts for Jamaicans, not the green or the orange, but Jamaicans to benefit from all relief efforts. So on the Spot News Media will most definitely be watching closely to see who will even attempt to politicize such a disaster. So anyway, my peeps, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to On The Spot News Media as I continue to bring you fresh news and updates in subsequent newscasts. On The Spot News Media. Yeah, man.